Hello, my friends, and welcome to a very special tournament. My name is Bull Skunk alongside Chef Billy, and we are here at the Trial of Champions. This 3-day invitational, bringing 12 teams together, not only prove themselves on the battlefield, but more importantly, uniting for a great cause. And these 12 teams coming on alongside ELO Hell Production, as well as you, the viewer, are out to prove that gamers can cure cancer. And Billy, we're up against a particularly nasty one here this week.
That's right. We are up against pancreatic cancer, and our charity is going to be benefiting Pank One, a Canadian firm that is battling this horrible disease. A couple of little quick notes about this: Alan Rickman, aka Professor Snapes, died of this disease. Also, Steve Jobs, Patrick Swayze, everybody loved him in Roadhouse and Dirty Dancing, and also one of the first American female astronauts, Sally Ride, passed away from this horrible cancer. And this is getting some of the word out for this charity and also being able to bring light and funding that is so critically needed for this absolutely horrible disease. 2% of people are getting funded for this pancreatic research, and it's only got an 8% survival rate. So, we as gamers, we have a chance to really unite here and kick cancer in the ass.
Yes, sir. That we do. That we do. Coming together for, I mean, the best of causes. This is what gaming is all about. It's the community and the love, not only for our game, but being able to give back to the world and level up the human weapons to fight this disease. We're not talking about just saving one lives or 10 lives. This is a permanent increase in this fight against cancer. We can get them the funding they need and see if we can raise that survival rate. But for a little note on that, we're going to send it over to a short video. Necra's got a little bit of a story for us.
Hi everyone, my name is Nekra, and for those of you that don't know me, I lost my mother to pancreatic cancer 2 years ago. While a rare disease, pancreatic cancer remains one of the deadliest forms of cancer due to the nature of finding it so late in a stage of progression. It is possible that someone you know has had a family member, a friend, or even themselves deal with some type of cancer. This week during Trial of Champions, we've partnered with Pancreatic Cancer Canada. You can help us reach a more cancer-free, more hopeful world by donating directly to the foundation in the link in our panels below. Every dollar counts towards reaching a cure for this horrible disease. Thank you so much for listening to my story and for supporting Pancreatic Cancer Canada by tuning into the stream. Now, back to more Overwatch.
Thank you so much, Necra, for sharing that story with us. Well, it's time. Pull those Genji blades out in the name of your PayPal account, your wallet, whatever it is, and let's go take a slash out of cancer here as this 3-day tournament kicks off. And now that we figured out the why, let's take a look at the bracket and some of the teams that are going to be participating here in this tournament. As we're going to be starting off here in the knockdown round, 303 Esports taking on Avoided for our first match of the day. After that, we're going to have Lunaris going up against Contract. Further on, later on this evening, we will see Nocturnal facing off against Hour Zero with Region going up against Gaia Esports. And that's an interesting one. Gaia Esports and Contract, both winners of the Get Good Expert Division, have got themselves an invite here into this wonderful tournament. This tournament is we're going to start off in a first to two series here, Billy.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at what we're going to, we're seeing 303 esports. Some people knew them as Purple, but we're going to go ahead and go with the 303 esports theme here and avoid it. And what we are looking at here is a very meta team. In 303 esports, I actually had the pleasure of casting them this weekend in open division over on another station, and then avoided the one trick team with the most outrageous compositions that you could ever think of. And you and I, Bull Skunk, were talking about this before we went on the air, and how much fun it is to cast this craziness that is avoided.
They are a very fun team to cast indeed. I mean, this is going to be a story of meta versus anti-meta, at least what I'm anticipating. And some strong rosters on either side. You've got a Cash and Greg in the tank line up there for 303, but they're going to be going up against Mini Me and well, it looks like it'd be Hamp, I believe, in the off tank role. Oh no, excuse me, it's going to be Ball. Well, that's the names keep getting swapped. We keep getting different names here. I believe it's actually Hammond mained. I believe it'll look like Tractor Boy there on screen. So it'll be like I said, a first of two here at our best of three map series. Starting off on Lijiang Tower, this is 303 Esports pick, and we will then go to a loser pick after that, heading down into hybrid or escort and then hybrid, following up with assault as map 4 if necessary here today.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm so excited to get into this map. We had a little bit of a delay here in the beginning, but I'm really glad that everybody stood around and waited it out. And we should be going into the game here very shortly. And as we go to Lijiang Tower, Bull Skunk, we were talking about uh, the wacky compositions coming out of Avoided. Like I said, I had a chance to cast 303 Esports this past weekend, and let me tell you what, Akash and Greg in the tank roles were absolutely filthy. The Halt Rock combinations coming out with them, and also with H Key being able to dash through it. They had that on lockdown pretty much the entire series that they had, and they ended up winning their series quite easily.
Ready for battle.
They've got a tall order here today. Avoided. They were able to qualify for contenders in trials, going 4-1 in that tournament. Currently sitting at 6-1 in the Prospect Cup. Excellent showings every time we see Avoided on the battlefield, and I'm expecting nothing less here in Trial of Champions, as they're showing us a bit of those unique compositions right out of the gate.
5, 4.
We're looking at a little bit of Orisa with a Tractor Kid, aka Hammerman, on that ball. Gates are open. Trial of Champions has begun.
These compositions look absolutely I think you're right.
Right out of the gate, the concussion blast sends Greg into the depths. Avoided, making a statement very early here in this match.
Thanks for the assist.
Absolutely, and that's just a beautiful personal shot. Take a little self-damage to get that ult charge going up before Hampy on the Mercy there. And, we're going to have to look at what kind of different rotation and what are they going to do to deal with Aquamarine and Skybull stuff.
Well, right now they're passing to the right side, trying to just avoid the LOS from Aquamarine altogether. They got to watch out. Farmer Boy, aka Bastion Main, moving over to the top left side. Has that nice flank angle, but Zeus picks him out. What a beautiful shot. Threads the needle and takes that large source of damage out of the back end. Greg's able to follow up with a kill on to Nolan. Make it a 2-kill. Getting Mini-Me in the process as well. 303 getting things started here with first control. Actually, second.
Yeah, that is just a little bit of a pressure coming out, and taking down the Bastion early really took a lot of the initial pressure coming into them. And Zeus is lighting up the screen with the Viper. Not to mention Akash on the Orisa, getting some really good ult combos in there.
So far, 303 doing a wonderful job of dealing with the chaotic approach, avoided throws of 13. 303 focus fire ever so good. You can see they're trying to turn attention to far and now. Try to think better of it and just move inside, get out of the way of that damage. Bashing down the long hallway, doesn't last. It gets the amplification matrix. Greg able to throwing blows there with 38% counting. He has both CPS ults are in a strong position. Greg going to throw down the Dragon Blade. They've already taken down the pharmacy combo out of the sky, so HT moving in to try to finish off the front line. Get some big hefty damage out of the arena. HT right there to finish it off as well. Geofan getting them in the kill feed.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at, they invested the coalescence on the other side. I think the deal was used on this catch, and that's what initiated that Dragon Blade coming out of HT.
Nolan making the swap over to the Ana now. Aquamarine dropping in from above. Here comes the barrage. Rise one. The immortality field prevents any further damage. But you're able to find that kill. HT getting the mercy. So one-man advantage for 303 as they look to finish off the rest of Avoided. We're passing in Team White. Orisa trying to escort the Bastion into position. So far, able to avoid that. Stay back behind to take that color. Here comes that beautiful block combo that you're referring to. And Mini-Me right back in spawn. Now just a rolling ball to deal with. West has come through. Tampa able to still on the emergency, but now there's no sustain left for the Orisa. The supercharger going by the wayside here for Avoided.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you've got the tank configuration coming in from Farmer Boy, and he just gets deleted. That is a Halt Rock and Baptiste assassination, as clean as you like, Bolt Skunk. And despite the fact that they had, considerable ultimates on the board, the more meta composition coming out of 303 Esports, winning the day, they just didn't really feel very much really any kind of push from Avoided. Tractor Boy on the Hammond not really making a difference, not getting the environmental kills, and not really getting into the back line of 303 Esports to kind of give them any kind of a problem.
Once 303 got control of the objective, it was so difficult for Avoided to open things up. They bunkered down in a wonderful defense, and now coming back out with the same composition. They'll use HK on the Symmetra just to get everybody into the fight a little bit quicker, then HK going back over to the Genji. On the other side, Avoided sticking with something very similar as well, but Aquamarine pulling out the Junkrat instead of the Pharah. We'll have Camp on the Baptiste in that case. Down low, keeping the team alive. Early engagements, the ball tries to roll through. So far, looks like 303 just kind of poking and prodding, searching for that Bastion who's lying in wait in the far back of the objective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think bringing out the Junkrat, not only for the shield break potential, but also the range that you get from just spamming in the grenades. And you can get a quick assassination just like that on the Zeus.
That was the range you're talking about. Yes, sir. Zeus goes down, followed up with a nice pair of shots onto Akash to take Orisa out of the fight as well. Aquamarine propelling Avoided forward onto the point and all the way back towards 303 spawn here.
Absolutely. I mean, already has Tire on the table. Not much in the bank other than coming up close on the first Genji blade for H-Key. And, I'm thinking that you're going to have to either get something in the air or flank behind, maybe with a Tracer.
Tire coming out early to start the fight. 303 knows where it's coming from. Can they take it out? They can. Beautiful shot from Alexio. Amplification makes it thrown in the back. Now here comes the rally from 303. HQ's going to go ahead and invest the blade. Didn't get that extra armor, though. That could be a deadly attack, and HQ agrees, forced to back out. Blade going to waste. Meanwhile, on the front line, we have Bastion cutting through Akash and the shielding. Drops down the tank configuration and lays out enough damage where Avoid is able to finish off Zeus. Still 3 members of 303 left on this point, but all the while Avoided building up percentage, slowly getting those kills.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the really smart decision there from Armor Boy not to shoot into the kinetic grabs and get all that extra armor for him.
Gravitic Flux out from 303 to try to shut that Bastion down. HK manages to find one that gives his life on the process. Greg gets in, takes out Hammond. Bob throwing it for good measure to throw some extra pressure into that backline where the Bastion was synced. Forces the rotation. Bastion moves up into Lightroom. Nolan tries to get aggressive, but we'll have no hero antics out of the Moira this time.
Absolutely not. And I mean, look at what they came out with. I mean, almost last fight territory. And that was a pretty expensive fight. They had to invest the Bob. They had to invest the Gravitic Flux just to take control of the point. And if we're looking at Geofan, I think that you're going to have to get this rally up in a hurry.
Early Ant Matrix coming out, just throwing so much extra damage down the long hallway. Managed to pick off Aquamarine. Bastion is still sitting behind the comfort of the pillar. Oh, I spoke too soon, HK. Gets in there and disrupts him out of that comfortable spot. The beautiful dash resets. Taking down 2 in the back line with a single swipe of the sword. Now, Tractor coming back on the point, trying to throw down some mines, see if he can open up some room for Avoided to work, and manages to find a pair of kills in the process. Will that be enough time for Avoided to get back here or take advantage of the 2-man lead?
I'm not sure. I mean, right now, Akash does have Blade. This is going to be a super Blade as Akash go ahead and invest that supercharger into the mix, but no dice coming out of that, and you're looking at tank configuration coming up again for Farmer Boy, and Greg is going to have to be pretty wily with this Gravitic Flux coming in.
Avoided was so good at taking care of those Genji blades. The Immortality field right on point. Bastion main getting the shots down. Gravitic Flux coming in from 303 is going to find 2. Takes him immediately out of the fight. We're going to get the tank configuration from the backline as Akash comes back on the Wrecking Ball and takes Mini-Me down. half avoided back in spawn, the rest going to reset.
Absolutely, and Aquamarine very smartly holding on to that tire. That's going to be a good point of contention to start the retake of this point as we are closing in on 80% captured for avoided, or I'm sorry, for 303 Esports. Alexio does get another amplification barrier though, so this is going to be a lot of damage coming out.
Tire to start things off, just as anticipated. But once again, falling from the top. 303 knows they're there. Oh, what a block. The tire gets nothing through the brig shield, but Trade's coming through. Both DPS from both teams doing work here. Oh, nice kill from Enemy to tilt the balance. This is a 3v2 on the point, favoring avoided. Mines come out. Oh, but Akash takes down Tractor Kid. Oh, huge is 99 on the board. Coalescence out from Nolan, as well as a supercharger from avoided. 2v2 on the point as reinforcements return to the fight from both teams. Genji into the back line, 75% towards that blade. HQ needs to get that up to solidify this fight. Avoided gets the flip, so now the overtime wick is burning the other way. Alexia goes down just as the Ant Matrix comes out. Oh, and HQ goes down. Disastrous turn. HQ had to get that blade online to finish this fight. As it stands, kills are racking up for avoided, and it should be clean up here before we're all tied up on Li Zhang.
And, you know, Zeus getting a little extra kill there. I don't know if they're going to be able to touch again. That's going to go ahead and tie us up here in this series 1-1 Bull Skunk. And, you know, still, we're having the same amount of contestation and still the chaos coming from avoided. However, I think the positioning a little bit better that time, and, you know, really trying to push into it. The defense of 303 Esports, and 303 was not ready for that Junkrat to come out from Aquamarine.
I agree. So much spam damage. And that's what Avoided just does so well. They bring you so many avenues of attack and different ways you're forced to look. The moment you think you can deal with the Bastion, there's a Junkrat showing up. You start to focus on the Junkrat, you've got Hammond Main in your back line. And when worse comes to worse, you'll get Nolan, who pulls out 3k coalescences left and right. I expect we'll see one of those at some point today, though we haven't seen Nolan lighting up the kill feed just yet. Both teams coming out with the Orisa and clashing in the front line. Bastion Main just biding his time, flying his kite around, waiting for the opportunity to strike. Aquamarine found his. Takes down Zeus early and avoided planting their flag on this objective.
Absolutely.
And looking to strike back, though, and it's a 5v5. Oh, and a nice move. HK goes up and takes out Farmer Boy. This could be the opening 303 needs to get on this point, but now they're missing their Baptiste. 4v4 left on the objective if this fight doesn't break out.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at Aquamarine, I mean, nothing is really being done to counter him. Zeus has either got to start getting the headshots in, or they're maybe needing to counter with a Tracer or something to really get behind him.
Oh, and there's Nolan in the feed. Aquamarine does eventually go down, but once 303 turns our attention onto the Junkrat, you've got the Moira there getting 4 kills before it's all said and done. A little help from Farmer Boy there along the way.
I mean, a little help is always what you need to be seeing from your teammates. And also, you know, we need some help here with our charity going on for Pank 1 with the pancreatic cancer research. Guys, go ahead and open up your wallets and help us out with this really worthy charity.
Acting just like the immortality field against cancer, which is what we just saw protect from the Riptire. Farmer Boy goes down. Nice rock from Greg, but no one's going to go ahead and throw the Coalescence into the mix. That's going to net 3 kills before it's all said and done. Akash strikes right back. This tank line from 303 just so good. Absolutely able to carry the mantle despite the fact that they were missing reinforcements. Tractor Kid throws to the mines on point. 303 not really dissuaded. Now Nolan trying to go in, do some Moira damage. Forced to use that fade to get the heck out of dodge. Greg and Akash, well, they have not been moved at all. Not even Aquamarine and Bastion Main can dissuade them off this objective.
Absolutely, but they are down a healer right now. I mean, Alexia is going to have to get himself back into the fight as quickly as possible.
Oh, they got Mini-Me. Oh, that could be a great stagger, though, to help overcome that deficit. If you look at the back, the Moira and the Wrecking Ball are trying to prevent Genji and Alexio from getting back into this fight.
Is that a smart packet?
Yeah, and they forced out Immortality Field, so they're Alexio had to use that cooldown just to get the team out of spawn. Now it'll be about 20 seconds before that's available. Farmer Boy, with that tank configuration, could take full advantage here, but not if Alexio picks him off. The focus fire too good from 303.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a clear and present danger, and you've got to be able to recognize the damage coming from your flank. And, I mean, it's so much damage being put in here right now. Mini-Me is absolutely shredding. Tyre's going to be coming from Aquamarine as well, and he's going to let this kind of stall out and simmer. Oh, my God. That is filthy bull scum.
Absolutely filthy. Finds two, and two very important kills at that. As the microfights have broken out on two separate sides here. Nolan's Coalescence able to clean off the objective, enable Avoided to get the flip.
We were talking about that in the pregame, and we were talking about that. This is one of the most aggressive Moiras that you've ever seen, and I'm now seeing what you said. Go ahead and taking on the spawn and not letting people get out and popping Coalescence just to get the frags. I love it. You love to see it. Just hope you get some healing back in there at some point, Nolan.
A disastrous turn there for HK. He goes down with the blade in his pocket, ready to go. And the team, they have one last fight to get in here. It's 85% and counting. Akash is going to answer back with one, but the rest of the feed is all avoided. Fashion Main on the flank, taking him down. 303 can't even get back to touch. Oh, can he get in there? Oh, HK just barely able to get the overtime wave started, but there's plenty of mines to deal with. The sword doesn't even get fully out of the sheath before he lands on a pair of mines. Now Greg tried to go in, stall this thing out, but a similar fate awaits him on the objective. The rest can't even touch. Avoided. Taking a 1-0 lead to kick off Trial of Champions.
My goodness, I mean, that was a great first two maps, or three maps, and it was very back and forth. I think that the swap over from Aquamarine from the Pharah to the Junkrat tipped the favor into Avoided's favor with that reach with range. I mean, just throwing in the concussion mines, throwing in just spam damage, taking down the shielding of 303 Esports, and then being able to really get with intent into the back line, taking out the healers of 303 Esports, and there was really nothing they could do. I mean, I think that they have to figure out an answer to Aquamarine, but it is Control. And we always talk about this when you and I cast Bull Skunk, that Control, it's the outlier. So we're going to see what happens when we go into this next map.
And Control's the easiest game type to sow that chaos and to reap the seeds that creates, and that Avoided does so well. That's exactly what they're trying to do. They want to split up the opposition and take those microfights, take the little individual duels across the map. And Control just lends itself to that oh so well. But it doesn't mean that Avoided will falter as we go into our hybrid map. There are, yes, excuse me, it would be our escort map. And thank you for the correction there, production. I got it turned around. My fault. But 303, they showed us the excellent focus fire there on the first round, and I think that's what they need to fall back to. We saw them moving around the map as 6 and not allowing Avoided to take these little individual 2v2s, 3v3s. They will go greet them as 6 and take the 6v2 and then move around the map to greet the other small cores of Avoided. And Avoided were able to instill that chaos in those last 2 rounds, enforcing 303 Esports into the Clown Fiesta. And so I think 303 just needs to keep the focus we saw in round 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be going to Rialto next as our next map. So I am looking forward to seeing Zeus bring out the Ash. I saw a lot of this in the open division match that I cast this past weekend. Got really good positioning using the coach gun to very good advantage, going from high to low, always changing the eye level of their opponent. So I'm wondering if they're going to be able to do that again with Avoided and the chaos that they bring in. Also, looking at HK. HK didn't get as much value on the Genji with the blades this time as I saw over the weekend. So I think that the chaos that you were speaking of is maybe getting a little bit into HK's mind.
Well, it's so tough to lock down a group of opponents when they're not grouped up in the slightest. Avoided so good. They know exactly how to play against this meta. And they're so good of kiting back, of drawing the Genji blade out, or having the immortality field ready, having the coalescence ready, having the wherewithal to have an escape plan from that blade. They're looking for it every step of the way. And I believe 303 is going to have a different answer. You can't just rely on a Genji blade to beat this team.
I think bringing Sombra out would actually be a killer idea. Maybe even H key on the Sombra and letting Zeus take the mantle of the main DPS, trying to work at range and work at different elevations, and really throw their own kind of chaos into what Avoided is trying to do. And it looks like that Avoided has decided they are going to be on the defensive here. So we will see what 303 is going to do to be able to get this payload not only around the corner, but also all the way through.
And I think Rialto, it's so dependent on that good positioning. You have to have stellar positioning to either attack or defend, but particularly on the defense, it can be one of the strongest defensively favored maps in the whole game if your positioning is spot on, if you can maintain the optimal distance that your composition wants to work at, which Avoided is typically very up close and personal. It does look like they're showing us the Orisa here with the Hammond once again coming out on the defense. Also seeing Junk and Bastion picking up the role of the damage dealers.
If things stay the way they are as we were seeing them in spawn, I'm probably going to get jebaited by Akash and Greg. Running that into a Bastion, yeah, that would be folly in the extreme. Also, looking at Tractor Kid again, I mean, the ball play that he had will be good. So, getting the environmental kills are actually a very real thing. So, I mean, looking at the defense, you've got the Moira out there, you've got an Ana, so that's going to throw another wrench into what 303 Esports is going to be wanting to do here. I mean, the chaos, the anti-nades, I'm sure they're pretty much going to be focusing on the anti-nades into it. I mean, how are you going to defend against that?
I think if you're 303 here, your goal needs to be to find that Ana. The Ana is the weakest target of the bunch as far as a dive composition is concerned. If they can pick off that Ana and deny the bulk of healing, I believe 303 could open up the defense, but that's what's so dangerous about Avoided. You can take down one or two members and you have not won the fight. Even 2 men down, Avoided will still frag this thing out. They are a fearless team. And so you've got to take down the DPS as well. Getting the supports is just the opening. That's not the end game. You're going to have to find a way to surround Bastion main and to take the Bastion out of the fight. Otherwise, they're always going to be a threat, no matter how many reinforcements are left on the battlefield.
And speaking of threats, pancreatic cancer. This is the reason why we're here for these next 3 days in this tournament. And Pank One has partnered with us. And we are here to try and raise funds for the research and for the ability to fight this deadly disease. I was reading some of the notes on it in the pregame, and only 8% of people who are diagnosed with pancreatic cancer survive. And usually they're diagnosed with a stage 4 diagnosis. So basically they go from we think you have cancer to I've got a couple of weeks left to live. So it is the silent cancer, as people are usually just putting their affairs in order instead of trying to fight it.
We've laid down the supercharger for you, friends. Now it's time to pull out your Vipers and land some critical hits against cancer. But we're going to take a short break here for you. There's some links in chat. Click those donation links, and we'll see you back here in just a few moments. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Trial of Champions. We're heading to map 2 on Rialto here between a 303 Esports and Avoided. But before we get to that, just a reminder that we are here for such a great cause. We're here to lay some fat shatters down on pancreatic cancer. We need your help doing it.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what it's all about. We're here for gaming, but gamers do have big hearts, and open up your wallet, even if it's $1, even if it's 50 cents. I mean, anything that you give will be most gratefully appreciated. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get back into our game here, Bull Skunk, and we're looking at Avoided on the defense here, and 303 coming out with the Sombra. I called it.
At least out of the gate, be a good way to help shut down the highly aggressive Avoided, who took map 1 and have the 1-0 lead here in this first of 2 series. 303 trying to see if they can tie things up. Getting aggressive out of the gate, pushing back Avoided into the courtyard, and slowly but surely riding that cart around in our first corner.
Absolutely. I love the aggression being shown by Akash and Greg, getting a little dive targeting in there. Bastion taking up a bit of a Widow line of sight here, really using the architecture to their advantage.
Ooh, Bastion main goes down, Aquamarine goes down. Tractor Kid is able to answer back though, find kill Mini and getting into the feed. The tanks, they're going to make things happen despite missing the DPS. And 303 heading right back to spawn. Not really making it past the first turn here, the second turn.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is just, it's a bit of a head scratcher. I mean, they got a really good push in there. Zeus and H-Key playing in tandem with the Hack and the Blade, and really not getting much done beyond taking the DPS down. I think they were able to stick to each other, but that is a good opening there for H-Key, taking out Moira and Bastion main on the aforementioned hero, and this is going to be a bit of a push here.
Yeah, it was a beautiful coordinated attack from 303, showing us some of that focus fire that I was referring to before the break. And we're going to need to see more of that if 303 wants to keep this payload going, diving right into the back, taking Bastion main out early.
Absolutely gotten his number for this map so far. EMP is going to be dropped, and here comes the Blade out. Not getting a lot of value, though. HK, they are kiting back and using the architecture to stay out of the way, and the mines dropped over the point. Obviously, is going to stop all kinds of progress there, Bull Skunk, and, there's a lot. Oh, my gosh.
There was a bit of back and forth until that tire. Aquamarine tilting the balance in a big way with the Junkrat. 4 kills before it's all said and done.
4 kills is always appreciated by your tanks and supports. Just no, I got it. I'll just go ahead and throw a couple mines into this. And looking at the fights though coming up now, they've already used the nano boost onto Mini-Me. Mini-Me also dropped the supercharger in the middle of that fight. So ultimate wise, Bastion main pretty much the closest to having a defensive ult. You've got to be looking for Primal Rage, maybe to dislodge, maybe to get into a hack, maybe to get into a coalescence. It's going to be really indefensible looking at how the two tanks from Avoided are going right now. You've got Tractor-Boy completely in left field dealing with the stragglers coming out of spawn, and then you've got Mini-Me just holding the fort down. And there's got to be some kind of either concerted push, or they've got to really just coalesce together and just take it as it on the chin.
Oh, 303 doing a beautiful job of just systematically pushing through the individual members of Avoided here. Initially diving into the back, taking out Beyond and finding the most vulnerable target, and then slowly but surely pushing forward. HK doing a good job in the middle of that engagement, finding the Bastion. With the Bastion gone, they're free to just continue to push forward. We're going to get a late contest here. Self-destruct thrown into the back to help clear the objective. And EMP shutting down the coalescence. Nolan got the voice line out, but we didn't see any of the laser beams. And continuously getting kills. 303 finally capped point 1.
EMP really opened that fight up wide, and the cancel of the coalescence, you're sure that Nolan was expecting to get at least 3 people out of that. Looking at what we got coming from 303 Esports, though, you've got the coalescence available from Alexio right now. Sound barrier is going to be up, and then another blade. Do you wait for Zeus to get another EMP up to that, or do you just go ahead and go in with a dry blade?
The way HK's been playing, I think he might be able to get another one up, although Zeus quickly working up towards the EMP. Blade is going to go ahead and come out, try to get down the Bastion. Does, with a little help from Greg, but Tractor Kid finishes off HK on the Genji. Gonna hack in onto the Orisa. They try to finish that off, but the defense too good. Mini-Me able to pick it up. Now, Hanbei did go down, so some sustained missing here for the defense. And 303 sticking around in this fight. Supercharger coming out from Mini-Me, trying to thwart the Diva. Does get the D-Mech down onto Greg, and finds a kill onto Akash to boot. Bastion main coming up with a pair of kills on the end of that fight.
Absolutely, and now Nolan's going to go ahead and invest that next Coalescence and taking out his opposite. And looking at Tractor Kid here, getting the environmental kill onto H-Key. Bastion went from 50% all the way to gaining the tank configuration on their ultimate. Zeus is going to be able to put a little bit of pressure in here with this next EMP, especially if they combo it with Greg's self-destruct. Not much to defend against it. No sound barrier. There's really nothing for them to defend against an EMP self-destruct combo.
Using the translocator to get out of the way of the mine, Zeus drops that EMP down into the back line. Found multiple members, but the follow-up not quite there. And now we're going to get the nano boost onto Bastion. Main comes in, drops tank configuration. Akash slept mid-primal rage. Not able to use the Winston ultimate to dislodge anybody. And Bastion made free to get some shots in. Fan does manage to take down Aquamarine in the back, and now all the pressure onto Bastion Main. 303 desperately trying to take him down, but they cannot. The Coalescence too from Nolan, and Bastion Main survives the onslaught. Nolan finding kills with that Coalescence. Now there's just 10 seconds on the clock, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and HK is going to have to try and get back. Somebody's going to have to come back and touch. I don't know if there's anybody that can touch. Maybe Zeus getting that in there. Yeah, Geofan did a little drive-by touch on the Lucio. Now we have the Winston in the back. Kosh still keeping this thing alive, but only momentarily. 3 kills immediately on the board. Hammond Main is just planted himself, rooted on the objective, tossing mines everywhere. Here come all the defensive ults. There goes 303 right back into spawn. Yeah, and I mean, they just had the ultimate economy and the ultimate advantage pretty much throughout the entire fight. I think that maybe they missed an opportunity with the EMP self-destruct. They went ahead and let go of the EMP, but they didn't commit the self-destruct into it. And I think it was that chaotic nature of Voided's defense that really made them take a moment for pause to decide, is it worth it to put it into it? And in the end, they decided not to. I think they could have gotten at least 2. The way that Voided was set up in their little cubbyhole there. However, that is a really decent hold. They did get around the corner of death, and 97.36 meters. That is your win condition if you're avoided, and you would take this opening series 2-0 should they be able to attain that mark.
Yeah, just shy of picking up point B is where Avoided needs to go to take this series. Move on through the winner's bracket of this charity tournament here in the fight against pancreatic cancer. They'll be sure and click those links. Let's land those critical shots on cancer. Meanwhile, we're going to see if Avoided's attack will be enough to close out the series. 303 pulling out, well, the same meta composition this time around here. We're going to get Zeus back on the Ashe. HK back on the Genji.
I like it if they stay with that. I mean, we know that it works, but I'm looking at the offense right now and seeing some different heroes enter the stage here in Italy. Symmetra May. So are you trying to aggress and maybe get some walling in behind the bunker that is on top of the hotel here? Or are you just trying to BM and really take people out with a vengeance?
Teleporting through alley. So far, it looks like Voided's just sowing some seeds of dissent here. Aquamarine goes down early, though, in 303, staying nicely clustered on this high ground. The Sigma and the Baptiste drop down low. That's going to prompt the movement from the entire team. Everybody's got to stick together here. Beautiful coach gun from Zeus. Sends him main into the drink. Follows it up with 2 beautiful shots to boot. Finds 3 before it's all said and done. Zeus just shining on the Ashe.
And it's funny because every time I say Zeus, my dog comes over here because that's the name of my dog. So he's kind of like, oh, you're talking to me. No, but great moves right there. Akash using the Fortify to really good ability to kind of keep their team up there on the top tier of the hotel. And the ultimate advantage right now is so in favor of 303 Esports. You know, Avoided is going to have to really work at getting this bunker composition out. Bashamane has swapped back over to their namesake, and we're going to see if he's able to really get the shielding down and whittle down the defensive bunkering coming from 303.
So far, not having any luck in that regard. 3 members have avoided already back in spawn, as 303 seems to have found their stride here on the defense.
Absolutely, and 3 ultimates, almost 4 on the board for 303. I think you want to lead in maybe with the Bob, maybe to keep the payload where it is, and then you can bring in the Gravitic Flux after that to really seal the defensive posturing right now.
And a hero like Bob is so good against the scattered approach that Avoided likes to bring. Bob thrown in, Mini-Me deals with the big Omnic Butler. Mine's thrown over the point from Tractor Kid there. But Blade comes out, Mini-Me goes down, and now it's just Nolan on point trying to stall while the rest of his teammates are falling around him like flies. Aquamarine does manage to pick up one, sacrifices their own life in the process. In the end, systematically, once again, 303 dealing with this aggression and this chaotic approach.
The stinginess of using the ultimates there from 303 keeps them in the lead in the ultimate department. You've still got Supercharger and Flux. Alexio's going to be able to maybe angle this amplification matrix to really nail the damage coming in from the side. But here comes the tire coming from Aquamarine full time.
Looping around back, going up towards the clock tower. Oh, it's going all the way up. Now here it comes from the sky. Oh, finds nothing but the immortality field. Alexio there to keep the team alive, but not for long. Nolan drops a Coalescence and finds both healers before it's all said and done. Now trying to take out the Genji. Keystroke, oh so low. Bashamane finishes him off. Zeus picks up 2 kills, but that's not going to be enough for 303 to stabilize. It's going to be a point on the board here for Avoided.
Absolutely, and Pirate Ship activated. And 3 minutes and 6 seconds on the time bank. Wow. Let's unpack what just happened there. There was a lot of chaos coming in. I think the early immortality field coming out of Alexio, it did its job, but they didn't have anything to defend against what Bashamane was bringing on the flank.
Flux trying to open things up, but they're able to keep themselves topped off on the card, and now Bashamane free to drop tank configuration, already picked up 2. Once again, Zeus doing his darndest to keep 303 in this fight, but just not enough to overcome the pirate ship. It's full steam ahead here for Avoided and company.
Happy did go ahead and invest the amplification matrix and now has swapped over to the Lucio, so I think you're wanting to get a little bit more speed and maybe the sound barrier to defend against what is coming up from 303 Esports. Zeus dies with Bob in hand, so does HK dying with the blade in hand. This is not the optimal position that you want to be in if you are 303 Esports Bull Skunk.
Oh, 303 in a very desperate position indeed. Tractor Kid there to help clean up the rest of the contest and avoid, and will take Rialto and a clean sweep here in this series.
Yeah, it's 2-0 now to Avoided. I believe that was it for them. But looking at the overall play coming from both teams, Avoided playing Chaos to its finest and really just being the most unimaginably hard team to play against. You just couldn't get a grasp on where they were going to be at any point in time. And I got to say, the tank play from Mini-Me was very good. We're going to go ahead and throw it to a quick break, but don't go away. We'll be back with more of the Trial of Champions after this message.
Welcome back, my friends. And we are here with a little post match interview as we have Bastion Main, the star DPS from Avoided, in the booth with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Bastion Main.
No problem. It's a pleasure playing for you guys.
So first of all, great match. Chaos seems to be your guys' forte, as we had a hard time figuring out where the heck you guys were going around the maps, and just putting so much doubt into what 303 Esports were doing. First of all, what the public really wants to know is, how did you guys form? How long have you guys been together as a team?
Um, we've been we've been together the team is constantly changing. We always have we're always adding players, always mixing comps up. So the team formed, I want to say 6 months ago, but it's changed so many times. So it's kind of hard to say that.
Understandable.
So moving on, we saw you uh, get a lot of value out of the chaos, as I brought in, when we started our little interview here.
Oh
What
yes.
was your guys's plan to take 303 out of their comfort zone?
Well, 3 or 3, they're running the meta. Double shield, Ash, Genji, and we play all we play against meta so often, in ranked in our scrims, is that we know there are parts of it. Though meta is the meta is good, there are parts of it that oh, we can, ball goes in here, and then individually we're also so we're all very good at our heroes, believe it or not. We're not just throwers on ranked. We're pretty good at our heroes, and so we understand, okay, we can do this to cause more chaos. And the chaos is kind of, it just built it's a chaos and chaos, and it just builds up, and you really just and once somebody an enemy team makes a mistake, we punish that heavily.
It
And
looks like
that's kind of the
go ahead.
and that's how that was our mindset going into the match. Just they're playing meta, just mess with them.
Do such a good job of avoiding the Genji blades in particular. That's typically a big win condition, with the meta comps that we're seeing. Is that planned? Is that a set part of your approach to keep everybody separated and not give the Genji easy targets?
Our separation is kind of I mean, yeah, it's great against Genji, but just being separated is great in general.
Right.
Like, because being separated doesn't means that 5 people can't get Orisa pulled, meaning that it completely negates 90% of the damage.
Yes, sir.
And they weren't running Nano Blade, so
Right.
I just had to sit there with the right click, let Genji use all his slashes, all his dashes on me, and I would just soak all that up. And that's we weren't too scared of the Genji.
And there was a time where it looked like 303 was doing a pretty good job of focusing you down as the Bastion. Were you ever worried in that match, especially early in Rialto? It seemed like that they had the dive had coordinated enough to create a threat. Were y'all ever bothered? Because you seemed to counter back beautifully as the match went on. On the back of Rialto, there was a point where you're back up at point C. I think you had 4 members of 303 surrounding you, and somehow you still survived. I was astonished. It was beautiful
Oh,
work.
yes. All I was My mindset was, "Okay, I'm not gonna do any damage. I'm gonna break Winston bubble and just run." And Pompey was like, peek me, I got nano." He nanos me. I'm like, "Oh, I gotta run some more." Then I get naded, and Nolan, heals me with his ult. I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep on running." And it was so funny, but it's kind of the plan to use me as bait for dive because,
Right.
I mean, if they dive me, they're all in one place for the rest of my team. They know where I am, and so they know where the enemy's gonna be.
Well, it's a ton of fun to watch. I hope it's as much fun to play. It certainly looks it.
Oh, yes. It's amazing. It's so fun.
And one final question. You're going to be taking on the number one seed in Noble in the next matchup. I believe that'll be tomorrow. Do you have any plans or any ideas going into that matchup to take down the number one seed?
I mean, just play our own game. Like, Overwatch is supposed to be fun. Meta, yeah, winning with meta is fun, and that's cool and all, but I I think the whole team can agree with this, that playing how we wanna play is way more fun than just mindlessly just pulling, rocking, dynamiting, everything's scripted. So for Kratos, we just want to play our own game and hope Hope we do well.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. It is absolutely a blast to watch you guys play. We're going to go ahead and throw to a quick break. We'll be back here with match number 2 in just a little bit. Y'all don't forget to smash that donation button as we lay down some massive gravitic fluxes on Cancer. We'll see you back here in just a few moments.